I distinctively remember one night where my appearance was beginning to drastically change and more veins were starting to show up on the right side of my face. I went into my bathroom, got a towel, wet it and just started wiping my face because I was like, this can't be my life. This can't be my appearance. This can't be who I am now, what I look like now. I'm Nikki Lilly and I was bullied because of my face. My childhood was a super happy one, but when I was 6 years old, I started having veins appearing on the right side of my face, and then that's when I was diagnosed with an AVM, or arteriovenous malformation. And you can get an AVM anywhere in your body. They're quite common on limbs or in the brain. Mine's on the right side of my face and head and gums and behind my eye. Anyone can have an AVM. You're always born with it, but you could be 30, you could be 3, you could be any age and it can just start. So that's what happened with me up until the age of 6. Didn't know I had it, didn't have any symptoms, looked like every other average child, average person, and then at 6 years old started getting symptoms of an AVM, and that is when my childhood changed and I went from doing all of these activities and spending time with friends, going to school 5 days a week, to either being at home or being in hospital, barely going to school, barely having any interaction with the outside world, and I began to really hate myself. I felt like I was just looking at my life and was outside of myself and just seeing it change and seeing everything change around me. It just made me feel abnormal, really. I distinctively remember one night where my appearance was beginning to drastically change and more veins were starting to show up on the right side of my face. I went into my bathroom, got a towel, wet it and just started wiping my face because I was like, this can't be my life. This can't be my appearance. This can't be who I am now, what I look like now.
Is there a single comment that sticks in your mind from that time?
I was in a lift with my mum and another mum and her child came in, similar age to me, and just whispered loudly to their mum, "Mum, she's so ugly." And the mum being like, instead of telling the child, that's not okay, she just looks special or she just looks unique or something along those lines, and using that as a point to educate their child, saying, "It's okay, darling, we'll be out of the lift soon." And that just made me feel like that made me feel like such an outsider and like a monster. And I remember this other distinctive time where I came into school one day and I had to work up a lot of courage to come into school, and I saw my friends and I was so excited to see them, and one of my friends was just talking to me and said, "You know, Nikki, I don't even recognise you anymore." I was already my worst enemy. I'd said all the horrible things I could say to myself internally. The last thing I needed was to have people on the outside saying things that just made everything that I was going through harder for me. I could just see them staring at me and it just made me not want to leave my house. My house just became my safe haven.
And then how does your condition impact on your day-to-day life?
It affects my day-to-day life. One, because there's currently no cure, so I have pain every day, so there's probably not a day that goes by where I don't take painkillers. Through operations and through having my condition, the nerve at the back of my right eye has been damaged, so I am blind in that eye, so I struggle with seeing things properly, so I'm not able to see as much as obviously the average person. I can have really, really awful life-threatening nosebleeds where I can lose a horrendous, horror scene amount of blood in such a small amount of time. It will also come down the back of my throat and out of my mouth. That's where I tend to lose most of my blood. And also out of my tear ducts, so I'll literally be crying blood, so it's literally like a horror scene. And sometimes you'll be like to people, "Oh yeah, I have really bad nosebleeds," and then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, me too," and I'm like, "I don't think you do." I've had 95 operations. I'd have them every time that my bleed started getting worse, to sort of keep things temporarily at bay. So we're on the ward now. This is the ward that I'm going to be on after my operation as well, so post-op. Anesthesiologist has just come and she was so lovely. She was so good, wasn't she, Mum?
Yeah, she was really good.
So they have called me down to theatre, so Mum is quickly just tying the back of my operating down. Doctors would actually cut my face and make a big incision and try to remove some parts of my AVM rather than sort of blocking off parts or trying to kill off parts with medicine. With operations like that, you have to make sure you don't get any infections because they're literally opening up your face and have to stitch it back, and it's one where your appearance massively changes. It takes a big mental toll on you. I had an operation that didn't go very well, and I ended up being quite severely unwell and ended up with some 3rd-degree burns, and because of some treatment that I'd had, which is just a side effect of one of the medicines. A couple of years ago actually, I started having a really bad bleed, and so was taken to the operating theatre, and I woke up 8 days later after being put into a sleep-induced coma for 8 days and was in intensive care. And then unfortunately this year my health sort of gone back downhill, and my doctors are still sort of trying to find a treatment for me. I know that things don't always go to plan when you have an operation, but it just felt very much like every single odd was against me, and all I wanted was to be healthy.
So then you started getting into like vlogging.
Hi YouTube. Hi YouTube. Hi YouTube.
How did that come about? How did that start?
I'd always watched videos online because that became my escapism, you know, from the reality that was my life. It was sort of like YouTube became my safe haven. And so I'd always film these videos on our iPad at home, and one day I just filmed a video rambling on about something.
Now recently I have been hearing that loads of people have been doing prom makeup looks, prom hairstyles, so I thought, hey, I can do a makeup look.
I think it really helped in a way that I never thought it would, like me find myself again. Somewhere over the rainbow. It was like a project for myself, and it was a way for me to be the Nikki that I always was, but sort of felt like I lost after I got diagnosed and as my appearance started changing. It started when I was 8 years old, and here I am, really. So yeah, it's crazy. I never ever could have imagined it would get here.
You're 17 now, aren't you?
Yeah.
You've got 1.23 million subscribers on YouTube.
I know.
That's a lot of people.
I never ever say that I'm proud of myself, but like I am proud of myself because it really just was something that I started doing because I had nothing else. I was left with nothing in my life. And so the fact that like the thing that I just sort of started as a spur of the moment thing, as a coping mechanism for myself, the fact that that is the reason that I'm like here today and able to do what I do and able to sort of like interact with other people, connect with other people similar to me. You know, I've had parents coming up to me with their children saying that they've been bullied a lot through the years and really struggled with accepting themselves and their appearance because of that, and my videos have really helped them. And that is something where little Nikki, I know, would be so proud of herself.
We've got videos here that have 27 million views.
Yeah, the singing one.
That's a lot of people. But it's like, obviously then you're going to get some hate too and some trolls. How did that have an impact on you?
Obviously there is a lot of positivity online, but when I did receive the negative comments, when I especially turned my comments on, I was definitely nervous of what I was going to receive. And I did receive negative comments like, you're ugly, why do you look like that, monster, things like that. And it massively affected me. It made me question whether I wanted to make videos. It made me question whether it was all worth it, and it made me sort of lose my love for it because I would hone so much in on those negative comments.
And this is a bit of a strange question, but like, obviously the comments will be on this video. If there are people in there who would say mean things to you, what would you want to say to them?
Now I would say, I forgive you. I think that as I've grown up, I've realised that a lot of people are going through their own things, and you'll have bad days or go through things where they really affect us and affect our mindsets. And I think for a lot of haters, whether they want to admit it or not or realise it, a lot of these comments that they say come from a place of insecurity. I see it as weakness, and I see it as someone who's clearly struggling in whatever form that may be, clearly insecure, clearly unhappy within themselves, their own lives, whatever it is, and uses me as a way to take out some of that insecurity and unhappiness.
From obviously you got to 1.23 million subscribers now, and from that you got lots of opportunities
Yeah.
as well. So you got a role as part of the BBC. Can you just tell me a little bit about how that came about and what it meant to you?
In about 2015, the BBC came to me and said that they wanted to do a documentary about my life as part of a series that they had. So I did that. I did Junior Bake Off at the same time and won that. From that, I ended up having my own series with them, a spin-off show called Nikki Lilly Meets, and we did 40 episodes of that, 3 series, where I was able to meet so many amazing people, public figures, politicians, singers, so many different people that I've always looked up to and could have never imagined meeting. I interviewed Theresa May when she was Prime Minister in her office. That was insane. I made her a quiche. I interviewed Jamie Oliver, who I'm actually really good friends with now, Nicole Scherzinger, really good friends with now.
It doesn't get much better than
It
this,
doesn't get any better than this.
No.
Who else? Jacqueline Wilson, loveliest person, said she wanted me to be her granddaughter. Who else have I done? David Walliams, Jeremy Corbyn as well, and he has like an allotment, so he brought along some jam he made from his allotment, and I made some scones, and we just sat and ate scones with his allotment jam, and I was like, what is going on? This feels like a dream. And then I had like his jam just sitting in my fridge, and I was showing everyone like, this is Jeremy Corbyn's jam. And yeah, it was a crazy experience, but yeah, I'm very, very grateful for all of it and have so many fun stories to tell about the whole time that I did the series.
Who'd be the dream next? Who'd be the one you would love to meet?
Would love to do more musicians. I'm a massive fan of Billie Eilish, so maybe one day.
Well, Billie Eilish, if you're watching.
Oh God, Billie, if you're watching, please. I mean, do you know what? My most viewed video is actually a cover that I did of her song. And she liked it on Instagram, so I guess, I don't know if she remembers who I am, but Billie, please.
So you got a career in media. What kind of things that came from that?
I won an Emmy. I was also nominated for a BAFTA for my documentary about my life. And then I won another BAFTA called the Special Award BAFTA, which is recognition for not like one show, it's not one you win. BAFTA like assign it to you for recognition over everything you've done that a lot of people get at the end of their careers. I received Prix de Jeunesse Award, I won the Japan Prize Award, I won Pride of Britain Award, and I got a Gold Blue Peter badge, if you want to count that too. It's been insane. I mean, it's just been such a blur.
And when you think about all those awards, and you think back to you, age 7, staring in that mirror and wiping your face, is it incredible to feel how far you've come?
When I think back to my little self, looking in the mirror, just wishing that my life wasn't mine and wasn't real, it is so insane to see how I've come this far. It doesn't feel real. And I wish that I could just sit my little 7-year-old self in front of like a TV screen to look over like what my life would become. And I'm so glad that I had such an amazing support network around me to help me keep going and keep fighting. Because when you have a chronic illness, it's debilitating, it's never ending, it never stops, there's no break, there's no nothing. And among all the amazing things I've done, it's been insanely difficult to keep going, insanely difficult. And I've been through some really, really low moments in my life. It just reaffirms that I am strong. And I think for anyone, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Don't let where you come from, what you look like, your circumstances, anything get in the way of you achieving your dreams. I think, yeah, I just wish I could tell myself that like you have no idea what you'll be able to do and the power that you hold, as anyone does.
At the time that I won, I was living with my mum in a 2-bedroom council flat, and I was working at the Scottish Council for Voluntary Organisations. I was on like £8 an hour, but at that time, like that was a really good wage. I was 17, so I already thought I was like balling a bit. So it was a Sunday afternoon